The vast emptiness of space was shattered by a piercing alarm that echoed through the corridors of the Galactic Council's central hub. Councilor Zyx'nara, a tall, slender alien with iridescent scales and 4 arms, rushed towards the main chamber, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and anticipation. As she burst through the ornate doors, she was met with a scene of chaos. Dozens of alien representatives from various species across the galaxy were gathered around a holographic display, their faces contorted with worry and confusion. At the center of it all stood High Councilor Thax, his tentacles writhing nervously as he addressed the assembly. "Esteemed colleagues," Thax began, his voice trembling slightly, "we have received disturbing news from our long-range sensors. An ancient signal has been detected, originating from a region of space long thought to be uninhabited." Zyx'nara pushed her way through the crowd, her scales shimmering with anxiety. "What kind of signal, High Councilor?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Thax's eyes, all 7 of them, focused on Zyx'nara. "It appears to be human in origin." A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. The humans, a species that had vanished from the galactic stage millennia ago, were nothing more than a legend to most of the younger races. But to those who remembered, they were a force to be reckoned with, a species of contradictions, capable of both great compassion and terrifying violence. "Impossible," shouted Krelver, the reptilian representative from the Draconian Empire. "The humans were wiped out during the Great Purge. We all know the stories." Thax raised a tentacle to silence the growing murmurs. "And yet, the evidence is undeniable. Our most advanced quantum decryption algorithms have confirmed it. The signal bears the unmistakable signature of human technology." As the councilors argued amongst themselves, a young aide rushed into the chamber, clutching a data pad. He whispered urgently into Thax's ear equivalent, causing the High Councilor's skin to pale visibly. "Councilors," Thax announced, his voice now filled with undisguised dread, "we have received visual confirmation. A human fleet has been detected, and it's heading straight for the heart of our territory." The holographic display flickered and changed, revealing a terrifying sight. Hundreds, no, thousands of massive warships were emerging from what appeared to be a rift in space-time. Their designs were unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever seen, a perfect blend of organic curves and sharp, aggressive angles. Energy readings off the charts pulsed from their hulls, hinting at weaponry beyond comprehension. Zyx'nara felt her blood run cold. She had always been fascinated by the legends of humanity, spending countless cycles studying what little remained of their history. But nothing could have prepared her for this. How is this possible?" she stammered, her eyes fixed on the awe-inspiring fleet. An elderly Quarian scholar named Vextara hobbled forward, his ancient eyes gleaming with a mix of fear and excitement. "The Lazarus Protocol," he wheezed, drawing confused looks from the younger councilors. "What are you talking about, old one?" Krelver demanded impatiently. Vextara took a shaky breath before continuing. "In the final days of the human-alien war, when their defeat seemed inevitable, the humans spoke of a last resort plan. They called it the Lazarus Protocol, a way to preserve their civilization and return when the galaxy least expected it." As the councilors listened in stunned silence, Vextara recounted the ancient tale. According to legend, the humans had developed a way to place their entire species in a state of suspended animation, hidden away in a pocket dimension beyond the reach of their enemies. They would sleep for eons, their mighty fleet preserved alongside them, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge and reclaim their place in the galaxy. "But it was just a myth," Krelver protested, his scales bristling with agitation. "A fairy tale told to scare young hatchlings." Thax gestured towards the holographic display, where the human fleet continued to pour out of the spatial rift. "It would seem, Councilor Krelver, that this particular fairy tale has come to life." As the reality of the situation sank in, panic began to spread through the chamber. Species that had been at each other's throats for centuries now huddled together in fear, united by the terrifying prospect of humanity's return. Zyx'nara, however, felt a strange mix of emotions. While fear certainly coursed through her veins, there was also a spark of excitement. The humans had always fascinated her, and now she might finally have the chance to meet them face to face. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice cutting through the cacophony of panicked voices. Thax's tentacles drooped in resignation. "We must prepare for the worst. Alert all our member worlds, mobilize our fleets. If the legends of human warfare are even half true, we're in for the fight of our lives." As the council chamber erupted into frenzied activity, with representatives rushing to contact their homeworlds, Zyx'nara found herself drawn back to the holographic display. She watched in awe as more and more human ships emerged from the rift, each one a masterpiece of engineering and a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit. Little did she know that her fascination with humanity was about to thrust her into the center of a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. Aboard the flagship of the human fleet, a cryopod hissed open, releasing a cloud of frigid vapor. A tall, muscular figure stepped out, his eyes blazing with determination as he took in his surroundings. Admiral Marcus Steele, hero of 100 battles and architect of the Lazarus Protocol, had awakened. "Status report," he barked, his voice hoarse from millennia of disuse. A holographic interface sprang to life before him, displaying a wealth of information about the fleet and their current situation. As Marcus absorbed the data, a grim smile spread across his face. Well, he murmured, "it seems the galaxy's forgotten about us. Time to remind them why humanity was feared." As Marcus began issuing orders to revive key personnel and prepare the fleet for action, a young ensign approached him hesitantly. "Sir," the ensign said, his voice trembling slightly, "long-range scans are picking up alien vessels approaching our position. They appear to be fleeing from us." Marcus's smile widened. "Good. Let them run. Spread the word humanity has returned, and we're here to reclaim what's ours." As the human fleet began to move with purpose, cutting through the void of space with terrifying efficiency, the first seeds of legend were already being sown. Across the galaxy, alien species huddled in fear, whispering tales of the awakened giants and their world-shattering weapons. The Galactic Council, once so assured of its dominance, now found itself facing an enemy it thought long vanquished. And at the heart of it all, Zyx'nara and Marcus Steele, two individuals from vastly different worlds, were about to embark on a journey that would determine the fate of countless civilizations. As the human fleet advanced, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. Humanity's ancient armada had roared to life, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, Zyx'nara found herself volunteering for a dangerous mission. "High Councilor," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart, "I've studied human history and culture more than anyone else here. Let me lead a diplomatic mission to make first contact." Thax and the other counselors looked at her in shock. "You would risk your life to speak with these savages?" Krelver hissed in disbelief. Zyx'nara stood tall, her scales shimmering with determination. "If we don't try to communicate, war is inevitable. I believe there's more to humans than just the violent legends. Let me try to bridge the gap between our civilizations." After a tense debate, the council reluctantly agreed. As Zyx'nara left to prepare for her mission, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was about to embark on the most important journey of her life, one that would either save the galaxy or doom it to a war, unlike any it had ever seen. As Zyx'nara left the council chamber to prepare for her diplomatic mission, the gravity of the situation continued to unfold across the galaxy. News of humanity's return spread like wildfire, igniting fear and curiosity in equal measure. On the fringes of Galactic Council space, the Zephyrian Empire, a relatively young civilization known for its advanced bioengineering, received the alarming transmissions. Emperor Xylos, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline exoskeleton, called an emergency meeting of his advisors. "What do we know about these humans?" Xylos asked, his voice resonating through the chamber. Chief Scientist Lyra, a lithe, blue-skinned humanoid with bioluminescent patterns swirling across her body, stepped forward. Your Majesty, our archives contain limited information. The humans were a species of great contradiction capable of both remarkable kindness and unthinkable cruelty. Their technology was advancing at an unprecedented rate before their disappearance. And now they return, with ships that dwarf our largest cruisers, mused Xylos. What are our options? General Krass, a grizzled veteran with cybernetic enhancements, spoke up. We could join the Galactic Council's defensive efforts, pool our resources against this common threat. Or, interjected Diplomat Vela, her gossamer wings shimmering, we could attempt to establish independent contact, perhaps forge an alliance with these humans before the Council can. Emperor Xylos considered the options, the energy within his crystalline form pulsing with contemplation. Both carry significant risks. Lyra, what does your analysis suggest? The chief scientist's bioluminescent patterns flickered as she processed the data. Given the humans' historical penchant for both war and diplomacy, I believe a two-pronged approach would be most effective. We prepare our defenses, but also extend an olive branch. Very well, Xylos decided. Kraz, mobilize our fleet, but maintain a defensive posture. Vela, prepare a diplomatic envoy. We'll attempt communication with the humans, but from a position of strength. As the Zephyrian Empire set its plans in motion, similar scenes played out across countless worlds. Some chose to flee, abandoning outer colonies in a desperate rush to consolidate their defenses. Others, like the militant Draconian Empire, saw an opportunity for glory in facing this legendary foe. Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship Eternal Horizon, Admiral Marcus Steele oversaw the revival of key personnel. The ship's massive cryo bay hummed with activity as pods opened one by one, releasing their long-dormant occupants. Dr. Evelyn Chen, the fleet's chief scientist, was among the first to be awakened. As she stepped out of her pod, she immediately began peppering Marcus with questions. How long were we under? Has the Lazarus Protocol been fully implemented? What's the status of the biomechanical upgrades we were working on? Marcus held up a hand, a small smile playing on his lips. Easy, Evelyn. One thing at a time. We've been in stasis for approximately 10,000 years, give or take a few centuries. The Lazarus Protocol worked perfectly, our entire fleet is operational, and we're currently advancing into what appears to be Galactic Council space. Evelyn's eyes widened. 10,000 years? The advancements we could have missed. The civilizations that must have risen and fallen. We have so much to learn. And so much to reclaim, added Marcus, his expression hardening. Don't forget why we implemented the Lazarus Protocol in the first place. Humanity was on the brink of extinction, betrayed by the very aliens we once called allies. As more of the command staff were revived, Marcus called a meeting to brief everyone on their current situation. The ship's holographic war room came to life, displaying a real-time map of the surrounding space. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus began, his voice carrying the weight of command, welcome back to the land of the living. As you can see, we've emerged on the outskirts of what our long-range scans indicate is Galactic Council territory. Our immediate goal is to establish a foothold and gather intelligence on the current state of galactic politics. Captain Zara Vega, a tactical genius with a reputation for unconventional strategies, spoke up. Admiral, our scans are picking up a lot of chatter. It seems our arrival hasn't gone unnoticed. Multiple alien fleets are mobilizing, though they appear to be maintaining distance. Good, Marcus nodded. Let them come to us. We'll use this time to fully awaken our forces and run diagnostics on all systems. Dr. Chen, what's the status of Project Prometheus? Evelyn pulled up a series of complex diagrams on the holodisplay. Project Prometheus is stable and ready for deployment, Admiral. The biomechanical enhancements have been successfully integrated into all awakened personnel. We're looking at significant improvements in strength, reflexes, and cognitive processing. A murmur of excitement rippled through the gathered officers. Project Prometheus had been humanity's ace in the hole, a revolutionary melding of organic tissue an advanced nanotechnology that pushed the boundaries of human potential. Excellent, Marcus said, a predatory grin spreading across his face. Humanity 2.0 is ready to reclaim its place in the stars. Now, let's talk strategy. Captain Vega, I want you to take a scout fleet and probe the Council's defenses. Commander Jackson, begin the process of reactivating our dormant outposts. If any have survived these millennia, they'll provide valuable forward bases. As the meeting continued, each officer receiving their assignments, a young lieutenant burst into the war room. Admiral Steele, we're picking up an incoming transmission. It appears to be an alien diplomatic envoy requesting permission to approach. Marcus raised an eyebrow, exchanging glances with his senior staff. This was an unexpected development. It seems not everyone out there is running scared. Patch them through. The holodisplay shifted, revealing the image of Zyx'nara. Her iridescent scales and 4 arms immediately marked her as a species unknown to the humans. When she spoke, her voice was calm and measured, despite the obvious tension in her posture. Greetings, vessels of Earth. I am Councilor Zyx'nara of the Galactic Council. On behalf of the United Species of the Galaxy, I extend an offer of peaceful dialogue. We wish to understand your intentions and find a way to coexist without conflict. A heavy silence fell over the war room. This was a crucial moment, humanity's first official contact with alien life in 10 millennia. Marcus stepped forward, his enhanced mind rapidly analyzing the situation. Councilor Zyx'nara, he replied, his voice firm but not overtly hostile. I am Admiral Marcus Steele of the Earth Federation. We accept your offer of dialogue, but know this: we have returned to reclaim what was taken from us. The galaxy once turned its back on humanity. We're here to ensure that never happens again. Zyx'nara's expression remained neutral, but a flicker of something fear, admiration, passed through her eyes. We understand, Admiral. Much has changed in the time of your absence. Perhaps we can find common ground and avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Would you be willing to meet in person to discuss terms? Marcus considered the offer. It could be a trap, but it also presented an opportunity to gather valuable intelligence. He made his decision. Very well, Counselor. We will arrange a neutral meeting point. But be warned, any sign of treachery will be met with the full might of the human fleet. As the transmission ended, the war room erupted into heated discussion. Some officers argued for caution, while others pushed for a more aggressive stance. Marcus raised his hand for silence. This changes nothing, he declared. We proceed as planned. Captain Vega, your scout mission is now doubly important. I want to know everything about the Council's capabilities before we meet. Dr. Chen, accelerate the awakening process for our diplomatic corps. And someone get me everything we have on this Galactic Council. As the officers dispersed to carry out their orders, Marcus turned to gaze out at the star-filled viewport. Humanity had slumbered for 10 millennia, but now they were awake, and the galaxy would soon remember why they were both feared and respected. Across the vastness of space, on a myriad of worlds, preparations continued. The Zephyrian Empire's diplomatic envoy set out, hoping to secure an alliance with the newly returned humans. The Draconian Empire's war fleets mustered, eager to test their might against the legendary warriors of Earth. And on countless planets, ordinary beings looked to the skies with a mixture of fear and wonder, knowing that their lives were about to change forever. In the Galactic Council's headquarters, Zyx'nara debriefed the other counselors on her interaction with Admiral Steele. The chamber was tense, filled with conflicting opinions on how to proceed. We should strike now, while they're still finding their footing, Krelver insisted, his reptilian features contorted in a snarl. Every moment we wait allows them to grow stronger. Thax's tentacles waved in agitation. And risk immediate annihilation. Did you not see the power readings from their ships? We need time to understand what we're dealing with. Zyx'nara stepped forward, her voice calm but insistent. I believe there's an opportunity here. Yes, the humans speak of reclamation, but they also agreed to talks. If we can understand their grievances, Perhaps we can find a peaceful resolution." "Grievances?" scoffed Krelver. "They abandoned the galactic stage eons ago. What right do they have to make demands now?" An elderly Quarian scholar named Zyx'nara hobbled to the center of the chamber, his ancient eyes gleaming with wisdom. "Perhaps it is we who should be making amends," he said, his voice quavering but clear. "The histories speak of a great betrayal, a coalition of species that turned on humanity when they were at their most vulnerable. If these are the descendants of those wronged, they may have legitimate cause for their actions." A hush fell over the council chamber as the implications of Zyx'nara's words sank in. Zyx'nara felt a chill run down her spine. If the humans were indeed seeking justice for past wrongs, the path to peace would be far more complicated than she had initially hoped. Thax broke the silence, his voice heavy with the weight of decision. "We have no choice but to pursue diplomacy, but we must also prepare for the worst. Zyx'nara, you will lead our diplomatic efforts. Krelver, begin coordinating our defense strategies with all member worlds. And someone get me a direct line to the Zephyrian Empire. We need all the allies we can get." As the council dispersed, each member burdened with the monumental task ahead, Zyx'nara found herself drawn once again to the holographic display of the human fleet. She couldn't shake the feeling that the fate of the galaxy rested on her shoulders. The humans were an enigma, a species out of time, with technologies and motivations she could scarcely comprehend. But she was determined to find a way to bridge the gap between their civilizations, no matter the cost. Little did she know that her counterpart, Admiral Marcus Steele, was having similar thoughts aboard the Eternal Horizon. As he pored over reports and strategic analyses, Marcus couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and trepidation. The galaxy had moved on without humanity, evolving in ways they couldn't have predicted. Yet here they were, armed with technologies that had been the stuff of science fiction, even in their own time, ready to reshape the cosmic order. "Penny for your thoughts, Admiral?" Dr. Chen's voice broke through his reverie. She approached, holding a data pad with the latest results from the Prometheus project. Marcus sighed, running a hand through his close-cropped hair. "Just wondering if we're doing the right thing, Evelyn. We went into stasis to preserve our species, to give humanity a second chance. But now that we're awake, I can't help but question our next move." Evelyn placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "The Lazarus Protocol was always about more than mere survival, Marcus. It was about ensuring humanity had a future among the stars, a future where we wouldn't be victims or second-class citizens. Whatever happens next, we're giving our people that chance." Marcus nodded, drawing strength from her words. "You're right, of course. We can't change the past, but we can shape the future. And speaking of the future, how are our upgrades holding up?" A smile lit up Evelyn's face as she handed him the data pad. "Better than we ever dreamed. The biomechanical enhancements are fully integrated and functioning at optimal levels. Strength, speed, cognitive processing all off the charts. We've essentially created a new subspecies of humanity." "Let's just hope it's enough," Marcus mused, scrolling through the data. "Because something tells me we're going to need every advantage we can get in the days to come." As if on cue, the ship's AI chimed in. "Admiral Steele, we're receiving a transmission from an unidentified vessel approaching from the Zephyrian sector. They're requesting permission to approach and open diplomatic channels." Marcus and Evelyn exchanged surprised looks. "The Zephyrians? I don't remember them from our time," Marcus said. "Must be one of the civilizations that rose to prominence during our long sleep," Evelyn suggested. "This could be interesting." Marcus straightened his uniform, his enhanced mind already formulating strategies and contingencies. "Patch them through. Let's see what the new kids on the block have to say." As the holographic display flickered to life, revealing the crystalline form of a Zephyrian diplomat, Marcus steeled himself for yet another crucial encounter. The galaxy was reacting to humanity's return in myriad ways, and each interaction brought both opportunity and danger. The stage was set for a cosmic drama unlike any other ancient grudges, new alliances, and the fate of entire civilizations hanging in the balance. As humanity's fleet continued its advance and alien worlds trembled, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. The eternal horizon hung in space like a slumbering leviathan, its massive form dwarfing the approaching Zephyrian diplomatic vessel. Admiral Marcus Steele stood in the ship's reception bay, flanked by Dr. Evelyn Chen and newly awakened diplomat, Ambassador Lydia Reyes. As the airlock cycled open, Marcus couldn't help but feel a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The Zephyrian delegation emerged, led by a being unlike any the humans had encountered before. Emperor Xylos's crystalline exoskeleton glimmered under the bay's lights, the energy being within pulsing with barely contained power. "Greetings, children of Earth," Xylos's voice resonated, a harmonic quality to it that seemed to vibrate the very air. "I am Emperor Xylos of the Zephyrian Empire. We come seeking understanding and, potentially, alliance." Marcus stepped forward, his enhanced physiology allowing him to maintain a calm exterior despite his racing thoughts. "Welcome aboard the Eternal Horizon, Emperor Xylos. I am Admiral Marcus Steele, and with me are Dr. Evelyn Chen, our chief scientist, and Ambassador Lydia Reyes." As formalities were exchanged, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that they were being carefully evaluated. The Zephyrians' eyes, or what passed for eyes in their alien physiologies, seemed to take in every detail of the humans and their surroundings. Ambassador Reyes, a tall woman with sharp features and a diplomatic corps insignia on her uniform, took the lead in the conversation. "We're curious, Emperor Xylos, about your empire's stance in galactic politics. Our information is somewhat outdated." Xylos's form shimmered, an approximation of a chuckle. "Indeed, Ambassador. The Zephyrian Empire rose to prominence some 5,000 years ago, long after your species entered its great slumber. We've maintained a neutral stance in many galactic affairs, focusing instead on scientific and cultural advancement." As the diplomatic dance continued, Dr. Chen found herself engaged in a fascinating discussion with the Zephyrian chief scientist, Lyra. The blue-skinned aliens' bioluminescent patterns swirled with excitement as they compared notes on their respective species' technological advancements. "Your biomechanical enhancements are remarkable," Lyra marveled, studying the subtle indicators of the Prometheus project's success in the humans. "We've achieved similar results through bioengineering, but the integration of nanotechnology in your approach is intriguing." Evelyn beamed with pride. "It's the culmination of centuries of research, perfected during our long sleep. But I'm equally fascinated by your species' energy manipulation capabilities. The potential applications are staggering." As the two scientists delved deeper into technical discussions, a subtle shift occurred in the atmosphere of the meeting. The initial tension began to ease, replaced by a growing sense of mutual respect and curiosity. However, not everyone was pleased with this budding rapport. General Krass, the Zephyrian military leader, watched the proceedings with barely concealed suspicion. His cybernetic eye whirred as it scanned the human vessel, undoubtedly recording every detail for later analysis. "Emperor," Krass interrupted, his gruff voice cutting through the pleasant conversation. "While this exchange of knowledge is fascinating, we must not lose sight of the larger picture. The humans' return has thrown the galaxy into chaos. What assurances can they offer that they won't simply steamroll over younger civilizations in their quest for reclamation?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Marcus felt a surge of anger at the accusation, but years of military discipline allowed him to maintain his composure. It was Ambassador Reyes who stepped in, her voice calm but firm. "General Krass, your concern is understandable. Humanity's return was never going to be without complications. But I assure you, our goal is not indiscriminate conquest. We seek to reclaim our place among the stars, yes, but we're not blind to how the galaxy has changed in our absence." Marcus nodded in agreement, then added, "We're well aware that many civilizations, like your own, had no part in the events that led to our departure. Our quarrel is not with you." Emperor Xylos's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. "And yet, Admiral, your fleet's very presence has upset the delicate balance of power. Surely you must see how this could be perceived as a threat. Before Marcus could respond, the ship's AI chimed in urgently. Admiral Steele, we're detecting multiple warp signatures approaching rapidly. Readings suggest Draconian warships. The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly from diplomatic caution to high alert. Marcus barked out orders, his enhanced mind already formulating battle strategies. Shields up, all hands to battle stations. Ambassador Reyes, please escort our guests to a secure location. As alarms blared throughout the eternal horizon, the Zephyrian delegation found themselves being ushered to a protected observation deck. From there, they watched in awe as the human fleet seamlessly transitioned from peaceful formation to battle-ready stance. The void of space lit up as the first Draconian ships dropped out of warp. Their aggressive, spiked designs left no doubt as to their intentions. Leading the charge was the Draconian flagship, Claw of Destiny, its weapons already powering up. Aboard the Claw of Destiny, Fleet Lord Zyx'nara bared his teeth in a savage grin. So, the legends are true. The humans have returned. Let's see if they live up to their reputation. Back on the eternal horizon, Marcus stood on the bridge, his enhanced senses taking in every detail of the tactical display. They're not responding to hails, reported Communications Officer Sarah Chen, no relation to Dr. Chen. Their weapons are hot, and they're moving into attack formation. Marcus's eyes narrowed. This was at humanity's first true test since awakening. Very well. Let's show them why humanity was feared. Tactical, target their lead ships. Weapons free, but try to disable rather than destroy. Let's send a message. As the human fleet engaged the Draconians, the true extent of their technological advancement became apparent. Ships that had been in stasis for 10,000 years moved with impossible grace, their weapons cutting through Draconian shields like paper. On the observation deck, Emperor Xylos and his delegation watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and trepidation. General Kraz's cybernetic eye whirred constantly, recording every maneuver and weapons discharge. By the cosmic winds, breathed Diplomat Vela, her gossamer wings shimmering with excitement. I've never seen such tactical precision. Kraz grunted, his tone a mix of admiration and concern. Now we see why the old legends spoke of human warfare with such reverence. This isn't just superior technology, it's as if they're anticipating every Draconian move. Indeed, the human fleet seemed to be operating with near-perfect coordination. Ships moved in complex patterns, covering each other's blind spots and focusing fire with devastating efficiency. It was a dance of destruction, beautiful and terrifying in its execution. Aboard the Claw of Destiny, Fleet Lord Zyx'nara's initial confidence had given way to growing panic. Impossible, he roared as another of his ships went dark, disabled by precision strikes. How can they be so coordinated? It's as if they're sharing a single mind. Little did Zyx'nara know how close to the truth he was. The Prometheus project had done more than enhance individual humans, it had created a low-level psychic link between them, allowing for unprecedented levels of coordination in battle. As the fight raged on, Marcus received an urgent communication from Dr. Chen in the science bay. Admiral, we're picking up some strange readings from the Draconian ships. It's almost as if... Marcus, I think they're using technology derived from old Earth designs. This revelation sent a chill down Marcus's spine. If the Draconians had somehow acquired and reverse-engineered human technology from before the Lazarus Protocol, it could explain their aggressive stance and potentially complicate humanity's return to the galactic stage. Keep analyzing those readings, Evelyn, Marcus ordered. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with here. As the battle reached its climax, with the Draconian fleet in disarray and on the verge of retreat, a new complication arose. Long-range sensors detected another group of ships approaching, this time bearing the insignia of the Galactic Council. Leading this new fleet was none other than Councilor Zyx'nara, her diplomatic vessel flanked by a formidable escort of Council warships. Her voice crackled over the comms. This is Councilor Zyx'nara of the Galactic Council to all combatants. Cease fire immediately. We are here to negotiate a peaceful resolution to this conflict. Marcus found himself at a crossroads. The Draconians were on the ropes, and a decisive victory here could send a powerful message to the rest of the galaxy. But engaging in full-scale battle under the nose of the Galactic Council could jeopardize any hope of peaceful reintegration. With a heavy sigh, Marcus made his decision. All ships, cease fire, but maintain defensive positions. Let's hear what the Council has to say. As the human fleet powered down their weapons, the Draconians seized the opportunity to retreat, their once proud armada now limping away from the battlefield. The Galactic Council ships moved to interpose themselves between the two fleets, their own weapons powered but not targeting either side. Zyx'nara's face appeared on the main view screen, her expression a mixture of relief and apprehension. Admiral Steele, Fleet Lord Zyx'nara, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I invite both of you to neutral ground for emergency peace talks. This conflict threatens to destabilize the entire sector. Surely we can find a diplomatic solution. As Marcus considered his response, he couldn't shake the feeling that they had just scratched the surface of a much larger, more complex situation. The Draconians' apparent possession of old Earth tech, the Zephyrians' cautious overtures of friendship, and now the Galactic Council's direct intervention, all of it pointed to a galaxy far more entwined with humanity's past than they had initially believed. Very well, Councilor, Marcus finally replied. We will attend these talks. But know this: humanity came here seeking answers and restitution. We will not be deterred from our ultimate goal. As the various fleets maneuvered into non-aggressive formations, Marcus turned to Ambassador Reyes. Lydia, I have a feeling your skills are about to be put to the ultimate test. The fate of humanity's return may well rest on what happens in that meeting room. Lydia nodded gravely, her mind already racing with diplomatic strategies. I understand, Admiral. We've slept for 10 millennia, but it seems our greatest challenges still lie ahead. As preparations began for the high-stakes negotiations, tensions remained high on all sides. The humans had demonstrated their military prowess, but now they would need to navigate the treacherous waters of galactic politics. And looming over it all was the mystery of the Draconians' Earth-based technology, a puzzle that, if solved, could shed light on the true reasons behind humanity's long-ago retreat from the galactic stage. As the fleets maneuvered into position for the upcoming peace talks, Admiral Marcus Steele retreated to his private quarters aboard the Eternal Horizon. The weight of command, always heavy, now felt almost unbearable. He stood before a small holographic projector, staring at an image of Earth as it had been before their long sleep, vibrant, blue, and full of life. A chime at the door broke his reverie. Enter, he called out, his voice rough with emotion. Dr. Evelyn Chen stepped in, her usual confident demeanor softened by concern. Marcus, she said gently, dropping formalities, are you all right? Marcus turned, allowing Evelyn to see the turmoil in his eyes. 10,000 years, Evelyn. We slept for 10,000 years, and in our first day awake, we're already on the brink of war. Is this what we preserved ourselves for? Evelyn moved closer, placing a comforting hand on his arm. We knew it wouldn't be easy. The galaxy moved on without us, but that doesn't mean we don't have a place in it. And what if our place is nothing but a memory? Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. What if we're just relics, fighting for a home that doesn't exist anymore? For a moment, the facade of the unflappable leader cracked, and Evelyn saw the man beneath a man out of time, carrying the hopes and fears of an entire civilization on his shoulders. Without thinking, she pulled him into a tight embrace. We exist, she said firmly. We're here, we're alive, and we have every right to find our place among the stars. The Marcus Steele I know doesn't give up, especially not when humanity needs him most. Marcus allowed himself a moment of vulnerability, drawing strength from Evelyn's words and presence. Then, slowly, he straightened, his resolve visibly hardening. You're right, of course. Thank you, Evelyn. I needed that. As they parted, both became acutely aware of the charged moment they had shared. There had always been an unspoken connection between them, but the demands of their mission had always taken precedence. Now, with the future so uncertain, those feelings bubbled closer to the surface. Before either could address the moment, the ship's AI interrupted. "Admiral Steele, Ambassador Reyes requests your presence in the strategy room. The diplomatic team is assembling to prepare for the peace talks." Marcus nodded, his professional mask sliding back into place. "Duty calls. Shall we, Doctor?" As they made their way to the strategy room, the corridors of the Eternal Horizon buzzed with activity. Crew members, all enhanced by the Prometheus project, moved with purpose, their movements almost preternaturally graceful and coordinated. In the strategy room, they found Ambassador Lydia Reyes poring over holographic displays of known galactic political structures. Her brow was furrowed in concentration, but she looked up as Marcus and Evelyn entered. "Admiral, Doctor, thank you for coming," Lydia said, her voice tight with stress. "We're facing a diplomatic minefield unlike anything in human history. The Galactic Council alone comprises over 100 species, each with their own agendas and biases." Marcus studied the displays, his enhanced mind rapidly processing the information. "And where do we fit into all this, Ambassador?" Lydia's expression was grim. "That's the problem, sir. We don't. As far as most of these species are concerned, humanity is a myth, a bogeyman from ancient history. Our sudden return has thrown their entire power structure into chaos. Not to mention the Draconians' apparent possession of old Earth tech," Evelyn added. "That raises questions we don't have answers to yet." As they delved into strategy discussions, tensions ran high. The fate of humanity's reintegration into galactic society hung on the outcome of these talks. Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, Captain Zara Vega was overseeing final preparations for the diplomatic mission. As she watched her team work, a young ensign approached her, looking nervous. "Captain Vega," the ensign said, her voice quavering slightly. I'm scared. What if we can't find a peaceful solution? What if we have to fight the entire galaxy?" Zara looked at the young woman, seeing in her the fear and uncertainty that many of the crew were feeling but trying to hide. She placed a reassuring hand on the ensign's shoulder. "Fear is natural, Ensign," Zara said softly. "We've all woken up to a galaxy that's moved on without us. But remember, this humanity has faced impossible odds before and triumphed. Whatever happens out there, we face it together." The ensign straightened, drawing strength from Zara's words. "Thank you, Captain. I won't let you down." As the ensign returned to her duties with renewed determination, Zara couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. This was why they had implemented the Lazarus Protocol, not just to survive, but to give humanity a chance to thrive among the stars once more. Back in the strategy room, the discussion had turned to the potential outcomes of the peace talks. Marcus leaned over the holographic display, his expression intense. "We need to be prepared for any eventuality," he said. "If talks break down, we may need to fight our way out. But we also need to show that we're willing to cooperate. It's a delicate balance." Lydia nodded in agreement. "I suggest we lead with our scientific achievements. Dr. Chen, your work on the Prometheus project could be a powerful bargaining chip. Many species might be interested in medical and technological exchanges." Evelyn looked thoughtful. "It's risky. Sharing that level of technology could also be seen as a threat. But it might be our best chance at peaceful integration." As they continued to strategize, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. It reminded him of the tense meetings before humanity's retreat from the galactic stage millennia ago. He only hoped that this time the outcome would be different. Suddenly, the ship's AI chimed in urgently. "Admiral Steele, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council ship. Councilor Zyx'nara is requesting to speak with you privately before the official talks begin." Marcus exchanged glances with Lydia and Evelyn. This was unexpected and could either be a promising opportunity or a dangerous trap. "Very well," Marcus decided. "I'll take it in my ready room." Ambassador Reyes, Dr. Chen, continue preparations. We may need to adjust our strategy based on this conversation. As Marcus left for his ready room, the weight of humanity's future heavy on his shoulders, he couldn't shake the feeling that this conversation with Zyx'nara would be a turning point. Whatever happened next would shape not just humanity's place in the galaxy, but the course of galactic history itself. As Marcus made his way to the ready room, the corridors of the eternal horizon seemed to stretch endlessly. Crew members saluted as he passed, their eyes a mix of hope and apprehension. The weight of their expectations pressed down on him with each step. Entering the ready room, Marcus took a deep breath before activating the secure communication channel. Zyx'nara's alien features materialized on the screen, her iridescent scales shimmering with an almost hypnotic quality. "Admiral Steele," she began, her voice carrying a note of urgency. "I appreciate you taking this call. What I'm about to share with you must remain between us, at least for now." Marcus leaned in, his enhanced senses picking up subtle changes in Zyx'nara's body language. "I'm listening, Counselor." "The Galactic Council is not as united as we appear," Zyx'nara confessed, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "There are factions pushing for immediate military action against your fleet. Others believe your return was prophesied and wish to welcome you as saviors." Marcus's mind raced, processing the implications. "And where do you stand, Counselor?" Zyx'nara's eyes met his, filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "I stand for the truth, Admiral, and I believe the truth of humanity's past and the reason for your disappearance holds the key to our shared future." Before Marcus could probe further, a violent tremor shook the ship. Alarms blared as the eye's voice cut through the chaos. "Admiral, to the bridge. We're under attack." Marcus sprinted from the ready room, his enhanced physiology allowing him to move at incredible speed. As he burst onto the bridge, the tactical display told a story of chaos. A new fleet had dropped out of warp ships of unknown design, their energy signatures off the charts. "Report," Marcus barked, taking in the scene. Captain Zara Vega's hands flew over the controls. "Unknown hostile, sir. They appeared out of nowhere, using some kind of cloaking technology we've never seen. They're not responding to hails and are firing indiscriminately at us, the Draconians, and the Galactic Council ships." As if to punctuate her words, a blinding beam of energy lanced out from the lead ship of the unknown fleet, slicing through a Draconian cruiser like it was made of paper. In the science bay, Dr. Chen's eyes widened as she analyzed the data pouring in. "Marcus," she called over the comm, her voice tight with disbelief. "These energy signatures, they're similar to theoretical weapons we were developing before the Lazarus Protocol. But they're far more advanced. It's as if someone took our designs and had millennia to perfect them." The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. Earth-derived technology in Draconian hands was one thing, but this suggested a far deeper, more insidious connection to humanity's past. On the diplomatic vessel, Zyx'nara watched in horror as the unknown fleet tore through their defenses. Her mind raced, connecting dots she had long feared to acknowledge. The ancient prophecies, the whispered rumors of a shadow government pulling strings across the galaxy, it was all coming to a head. Back on the eternal horizon, Marcus made a split-second decision that would alter the course of galactic history. "All ships, Battle Formation Delta. Zara, get me a channel to the Galactic Council and Draconian fleets." As the comm officer worked to establish the link, Marcus turned to Ambassador Reyes. "Lydia, I hope you're ready for some on-the-fly diplomacy. We're about to propose an alliance with the very forces we were prepared to fight." Lydia nodded grimly, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Sometimes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's just hope they see it the same way." As the battle raged around them, with the mysterious fleet pushing all sides to the brink of annihilation, Marcus stepped forward to address the impromptu alliance. The fate of not just humanity, but perhaps the entire galaxy, hung on what would happen in the next few moments. In the observation deck, Emperor Xylos of the Zephyrian Empire watched the unfolding chaos with a mixture of awe and dread. His crystalline form pulsed with barely contained energy as he turned to his advisors. "It seems," he said, his harmonic voice resonating with grim determination, "that the galaxy as we know it ends today. The question is, what will rise from its ashes?" As the temporal rift pulsed with otherworldly energy, the assembled fleets found themselves frozen in a moment of collective awe and terror. The ancient human armada, once a source of fear throughout the galaxy, now stood as a potential bulwark against an even greater threat. In the crucible of this unprecedented battle, unlikely alliances were forged, while long-buried secrets threatened to unravel the very fabric of galactic society. Deep within the heart of the unknown fleet, a shadowy figure observed the unfolding chaos with cold satisfaction. "At last," the figure murmured, its voice carrying the weight of millennia, "the endgame begins." The stage was set for a conflict that would redefine the very nature of galactic civilization. As humanity fought not just for its place among the stars, but for the survival of all known species, a burning question echoed across the minds of every being on the battlefield. Who were these mysterious attackers, and what connection did they hold to humanity's long-forgotten past? Aboard the Eternal Horizon, Admiral Marcus Steele stood resolute as the ship's weapon systems hummed to life. He knew that the next moves made by humans and aliens alike would shape the course of history for eons to come. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of a knife. As Marcus prepared to lead the charge against this new, reality-spanning threat, he couldn't shake the feeling that they stood at the precipice of a conflict that would determine the fate of not just their galaxy, but of existence itself. The battle for the galaxy's soul had begun in earnest. No one, not the humans, not the Galactic Council, not even the mysterious attackers could predict how it would end. But one thing was certain: the cosmos would never be the same again. The battle raged on in the cold void of space, the unknown attackers pushing the combined forces of humanity, the Galactic Council, and the Draconians to their limits. Admiral Marcus Steele stood on the bridge of the Eternal Horizon, his mind a whirlwind of strategy and uncertainty. The mysterious fleet's sudden appearance had turned potential allies into desperate comrades in arms, but the situation was precarious at best. As the Eternal Horizon maneuvered to intercept an incoming barrage, Marcus's thoughts drifted back to his conversation with Councilor Zyx'nara. Her revelation about the factions within the Galactic Council had been troubling. But now, amidst the chaos, it seemed more relevant than ever. Could these attackers be connected to those factions? And if so, what was their ultimate goal? "Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council flagship," Communications Officer Sarah Chen reported, her voice tense with urgency. "Patch it through," Marcus ordered, bracing himself for whatever news might come. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the harried face of Councilor Zyx'nara. Behind her, the bridge of her ship was a hive of activity, the crew working frantically to repel the attackers. "Admiral Steele," Zyx'nara began, her voice strained, "we've managed to identify the attackers. They're using a combination of cloaking technology and energy weapons derived from ancient human designs. But there's more. We've intercepted communications suggesting they're being directed by a rogue faction within the Council." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "A rogue faction? Do you know who?" Zyx'nara hesitated, her expression troubled. "I have my suspicions, but no concrete proof. However, I believe their goal is to destabilize the current galactic order, using your fleet's return as a catalyst." As the transmission ended, Marcus's mind raced. The implications were staggering. Not only were they facing a technologically advanced enemy, but there was also the possibility of betrayal from within the very organization that claimed to seek peace. On the observation deck of the Eternal Horizon, Dr. Evelyn Chen and Ambassador Lydia Reyes were deep in discussion. The data Evelyn had gathered on the attackers' technology was both fascinating and terrifying. "It's as if someone took our old designs and perfected them over millennia," Evelyn explained, her eyes wide with disbelief. "These weapons are far beyond anything we developed before the Lazarus Protocol." Lydia nodded, her expression grim. "And if Zyx'nara's right about a rogue faction, It means we're dealing with a coordinated effort to use this technology against us and the Council. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Captain Zara Vega, who had been coordinating the fleet's defensive efforts. "Admiral Steele wants us to regroup," Zara informed them. "He's planning a counterattack, but we need to be ready for anything." As the three women prepared to return to their stations, Evelyn couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The attackers' technology, the rogue faction, the sudden alliances, it all felt too orchestrated, as if they were playing into someone else's hands. Meanwhile, aboard the Zephyrian diplomatic vessel, Emperor Xylos and his advisors watched the battle unfold with mounting concern. General Kraz, ever the pragmatist, voiced what many were thinking. "Your Majesty, if these attackers are indeed using human-derived technology, we must consider the possibility that this is part of a larger plot, perhaps even a prelude to an invasion." Xylos's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "An invasion by whom, General? The humans are clearly not behind this, yet their presence has undeniably triggered these events." As the Zephyrians debated their next move, Diplomat Vela, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "Perhaps it's not about who, but why. Why now, after all these millennia, do these events coincide with humanity's return?" Back on the eternal horizon, Marcus was deep in thought, reviewing tactical data and considering his next move. The stakes had never been higher, and the possibility of betrayal within the Galactic Council added a layer of complexity he hadn't anticipated. As he pondered their options, a sudden realization struck him. There was one individual who might have insights into the attackers' technology, someone who had studied ancient human designs extensively. Zyx'nara, the Quarian scholar from the Galactic Council. "Get me Zyx'nara," Marcus ordered, his voice cutting through the tension on the bridge. "If anyone can help us understand what we're facing, it's him." The transmission was established quickly, and Zyx'nara's wizened face appeared on the screen. Despite the chaos, the scholar's eyes gleamed with curiosity and determination. "Admiral Steele," Zyx'nara greeted, his voice quavering but steady. "I assume this call pertains to the attackers' technology." "Precisely," Marcus replied. "We need to understand how they're using our old designs, and more importantly, how to counter them." Zyx'nara nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I've been analyzing the data myself. It's clear these designs were adapted over centuries, likely by a group with access to ancient human archives. But there's something else, a pattern in their attack formations that suggests a familiarity with human tactical doctrine." The implications were chilling. If the attackers were not only using human technology, but also employing human strategies, it meant they were dealing with an adversary who knew them intimately. As Marcus absorbed this information, the ship's AI interrupted with an urgent alert. "Admiral, we're detecting a massive energy surge from the lead enemy vessel. It's a weapon of unprecedented power, targeting our position." The bridge erupted into action, alarms blaring as the crew scrambled to respond. Marcus's mind raced, calculating their options. They couldn't outrun the weapon, and their shields wouldn't withstand a direct hit. In that moment of crisis, Marcus made a decision that would alter the course of the battle. "Prepare to fire the Prometheus cannon," he ordered, referring to the experimental weapon they had developed before their long sleep. It was a gamble, but one they had to take. As the Eternal Horizon's weapon systems powered up, Marcus addressed the crew. "This is it, people. We didn't come this far to be undone by shadows of our past. Let's show them what humanity is truly capable of." The Prometheus cannon fired, a beam of energy so intense it seemed to pierce the very fabric of space. It struck the lead enemy vessel, causing a chain reaction that sent shockwaves through the attacking fleet. For a moment, the battlefield fell silent, the enemy ships faltering under the unexpected assault. But the respite was short-lived. The attackers regrouped, their resolve seemingly unshaken. As the battle resumed, Marcus knew they had only bought themselves time. The true test was yet to come, and with the revelation of a rogue faction within the Galactic Council, the stakes had never been higher. With the fate of humanity and the galaxy hanging in the balance, Marcus and his allies prepared for the next phase of the conflict. But as they did, a new question loomed large: who among their supposed allies could truly be trusted? And in the shadows, the mysterious figure who had orchestrated these events watched with satisfaction. The pieces were in motion, and soon the galaxy would be reshaped according to their vision. The aftermath of the Prometheus cannons firing left an eerie calm on the battlefield. The enemy fleet, though damaged, began to regroup with an efficiency that sent chills down Marcus's spine. As he watched the tactical display, a troubling thought occurred to him. "Dr. Chen," he called over the comm, "I need you to analyze the enemy's regrouping pattern. There's something familiar about it." Evelyn's voice came back, tense with concentration. "I see it too, Marcus. It's reminiscent of the Lazarus Protocol's emergency reformation sequences. But that's impossible unless they had access to our most classified data," Marcus finished grimly. The implications were staggering. Not only were they facing technology derived from human designs, but the enemy also seemed to possess intimate knowledge of humanity's most guarded secrets. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council flagship, Councilor Zyx'nara was engaged in a heated argument with her fellow council members. The holographic projections of various alien species flickered around her, their voices raised in panic and accusation. "We must withdraw," insisted Councilor Krelver, his reptilian features contorted with fear. "These humans have brought nothing but chaos since their return." Zyx'nara stood her ground. "And leave them to face this threat alone? Have you forgotten the ancient histories? The last time we abandoned humanity, it led to millennia of regret and instability." As the argument raged on, an elderly voice cut through the din. Zyx'nara, the Quarian scholar, stepped forward, his ancient eyes gleaming with a mix of wisdom and concern. "Councilors, please," he began, his voice quavering but firm. "We're overlooking a crucial detail. The attacker's knowledge of human technology and tactics suggests a connection we've long feared, but never confirmed the existence of the Shadow Concordat." A hush fell over the council chamber. The Shadow Concordat was a name whispered in the darkest corners of galactic politics, a mythical organization said to have manipulated events from the shadows for eons. Zyx'nara's mind raced. If the Shadow Concordat was real, and behind these attacks, then the situation was far more complex and dangerous than anyone had realized. Back on the Eternal Horizon, Marcus was formulating a daring plan. "Captain Vega," he called, "prepare a strike team. We're going to board the enemy flagship." Zara's eyes widened. "Sir, with all due respect, that's incredibly risky. Their defenses are based on our own designs," Marcus interrupted, "which means we have the best chance of bypassing them. We need answers, and we're not going to get them from out here." As preparations for the boarding action began, Dr. Chen approached Marcus with a troubled expression. "There's something else you need to see," she said, handing him a data pad. "I've been analyzing the energy signatures from the enemy fleet. There are anomalies." Marcus studied the data, his enhanced mind quickly grasping the implications. "Temporal distortions?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Evelyn nodded grimly. "It's as if parts of their fleet aren't just using advanced versions of our technology, they're using technology that hasn't been invented yet." The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. Time travel had been a theoretical concept before the Lazarus Protocol, but if the enemy had somehow mastered it... "We need to move fast," Marcus decided. "If they're manipulating time itself, the entire future of the galaxy could be at stake." As the strike team prepared for their mission, Ambassador Lydia Reyes approached Marcus with news from the diplomatic front. "The Zephyrians are offering their support," she reported. "Emperor Xylos believes this threat extends beyond just humanity and the Council." Marcus nodded, grateful for the additional allies. "Tell them we accept. We'll need all the help we can get." Just then, an urgent transmission came through from the Draconian fleet. Fleet Lord Zankra's face appeared on the screen, his expression a mix of anger and desperation. "Human," he growled. "We've detected a signal from the enemy flagship. It matches codes used by our highest levels of government. We believe our own leaders may be involved in this attack." The revelation sent shockwaves through the bridge. If the draconian government was compromised, how deep did this conspiracy go? As Marcus processed this new information, a chilling thought occurred to him. He turned to Lydia, his expression grave. "Ambassador, I need you to do something for me. It's going to sound crazy, but I need you to check our own government's archives specifically. Any records from just before the Lazarus Protocol was initiated." Lydia's eyes widened as she grasped his implication. "You think our own people might be involved, after all this time?" Marcus's jaw clenched. "I think we need to be prepared for anything. If there's a link between our past and these attackers, we need to know." As Lydia hurried off to investigate, Marcus turned his attention back to the impending boarding action. The strike team was ready, led by Captain Vega herself. "Remember," Marcus addressed them, "we're not just fighting for humanity anymore. The fate of the entire galaxy rests on what we discover on that ship. Trust no one, and be prepared for anything." As the strike team boarded their shuttle, a sense of foreboding settled over the eternal horizon. They were about to leap into the unknown, facing an enemy that seemed to know them better than they knew themselves. In the shadows of the enemy flagship, the mysterious figure watched the approaching human shuttle with cold amusement. "Right on schedule," they murmured. "Let the real game begin." As Chapter 3 reached its climax, the stage was set for revelations that would shake the very foundations of galactic society. The lines between ally and enemy blurred, and the true nature of the conflict began to emerge, a battle not just for the present, but for the very fabric of time and space itself. The boarding party's shuttle streaked across the battlefield, dodging enemy fire and debris. Inside, Captain Zara Vega steeled herself for what lay ahead. She glanced at her team, a mix of enhanced humans and a few trusted alien allies, including a Zephyrian energy manipulator named Zyx, no relation to Councilor Zyx'nara, whose abilities could prove crucial in bypassing the enemy's defenses. As they approached the enemy flagship, Zara couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. Something about this entire situation felt wrong, as if they were playing into someone else's hands. But there was no turning back now. "Prepare for breach," she ordered, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "Remember, our primary objective is to gather intelligence. Engage only if necessary." The shuttle latched onto the enemy ship's hull, cutting through with precision. As they breached the outer defenses, Zara's team moved with practiced efficiency, securing their entry point and beginning their infiltration. Meanwhile, back on the eternal horizon, Marcus paced the bridge, his mind racing. The pieces of the puzzle were there, but they didn't quite fit together. The Shadow Concordat, the temporal anomalies, the potential betrayal from within it, all pointed to a conspiracy of unimaginable scale. "Admiral," Lydia's voice came through the calm, tight with urgency. "I found something in the archives. Just before the Lazarus Protocol was initiated, there was a series of highly classified meetings. The records are heavily redacted, but there's mention of a contingency Omega, something that was to be activated only if humanity faced extinction." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "Contingency Omega," he repeated, the words feeling heavy on his tongue. "What else does it say?" "That's just it," Lydia replied, frustration evident in her voice. "The rest is encrypted with a level of security I've never seen before. It would take years to crack it with conventional methods." As Marcus pondered this new information, Dr. Chen burst onto the bridge, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. "Marcus, I've made a breakthrough with the temporal analysis. The enemy fleet, it's not just using future technology. Some of those ships, they're from our future." The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. Future versions of their own ships, turned against them. The implications were staggering. Before he could fully process this information, an alert blared through the ship. "Admiral," the AI reported, "we're detecting a massive energy buildup in the enemy flagship. It appears to be opening a temporal rift. On the enemy flagship, Zara and her team had fought their way to the central command center. The ship's interior was a maze of familiar yet alien technology, as if someone had taken human designs and twisted them into something unrecognizable. As they breached the final door, Zara found herself face to face with the mysterious figure who had orchestrated the attack. But nothing could have prepared her for what she saw. The figure turned, revealing a face that was hauntingly familiar. It was Marcus Steele, but older, scarred, and with eyes that burned with a cold fury. "Welcome, Captain Vega," the future Marcus said, his voice a chilling echo of the man she knew. "I've been expecting you. It's time you learned the truth about Contingency Omega, and why humanity's past must be destroyed to secure its future." As Zara and her team stood frozen in shock, the ship shuddered around them. Through the viewport, they could see a massive temporal rift opening, large enough to engulf entire fleets. Back on the eternal horizon, Marcus watched in horror as the rift expanded. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to his core, that whatever came through that rift would change the course of galactic history forever. As the temporal rift expanded, bathing the battlefield in an otherworldly glow, the combatants on all sides found themselves frozen in a moment of collective awe and terror. The future Marcus Steele, standing before a stunned Captain Zara Vega and her team, raised his hand. With a gesture, holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing scenes from a future too horrifying to comprehend. "This," he said, his voice heavy with the weight of unspeakable burdens, "is why Contingency Omega must be executed. The future you see here is the result of our failure to act now." On the eternal horizon, Admiral Marcus Steele watched as the rift continued to grow, his mind racing to process the implications of everything they'd learned. The Shadow Concordat, Contingency Omega, his future self's apparent betrayal, it all pointed to a truth almost too terrible to contemplate. "Sir," Communications Officer Sarah Chen called out, her voice tight with urgency, "we're receiving simultaneous transmissions from the Galactic Council, the Zephyrian Empire, and the enemy flagship." Marcus steeled himself, knowing that whatever came next would change everything. "Put them through," he ordered, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. As the holographic projections flickered to life, showing the faces of Councilor Zyx'nara, Emperor Xylos, and to everyone's shock, Captain Zara Vega standing next to the future Marcus, a hush fell over the bridge. "It's time you understood the full scope of what we're facing," the future Marcus began, his scarred face a map of hardships yet to come. "The enemy isn't out there," he gestured to the battle raging beyond the viewports. "It's in here," he tapped his temple, "in the very essence of what makes us human." As he spoke, more ships began to emerge from the temporal rift, vessels of designs so advanced they seemed to defy the laws of physics. But it wasn't their technology that sent a chill down Marcus's spine. It was the unmistakable insignia they bore, the emblem of Earth, twisted into something dark and terrible. "What you're seeing," the future Marcus continued, "is the result of choices we haven't made yet. A future where humanity becomes the very thing we once fought against. Contingency Omega isn't just a plan, it's our last hope to prevent this future from coming to pass." The revelations hung in the air, each being processing the enormity of what they'd learned. The fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy, rested on decisions that would be made in the next few moments. As Chapter 3 drew to a close, Marcus found himself at a crossroads. To his left stood the allies he'd made since awakening from the Lazarus Protocol aliens he was only beginning to understand and trust. To his right, a version of himself from a dark future, offering a terrible solution to an unimaginable problem. And at the center of it all, the expanding temporal rift threatened to engulf everything, past, present, and future. "The choice is yours, Marcus," his future self said, his voice echoing across time and space. "But know this, the clock is ticking, and the future of every sentient being in the galaxy hangs in the balance." As the transmission cut off, leaving the assembled leaders in stunned silence, Marcus realized that the true battle was only just beginning. Whatever came through that rift, Whatever choices lay ahead, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. The stage was set for a confrontation that would push the boundaries of loyalty, morality, and the very essence of the human spirit. As the assembled forces braced for what was to come, a profound question weighed heavily on every mind, not just what the next moments would bring, but what kind of future they were truly fighting for, and what sacrifices they were willing to make to secure it. The fate of the galaxy now hung in the balance, its destiny resting in the hands of those faced with an impossible choice: to place their faith in the potential of the present or yield to the ominous warnings of a dark future. As the temporal rift pulsed with otherworldly energy, the once clear distinctions between ally and enemy, right and wrong, blurred into an indiscernible haze. On the horizon loomed a battle that promised earth-shattering revelations, poised to shake the very foundations of everything they thought they knew. The decisions made in the coming conflict would echo across the ages, forever altering the course of galactic history. As the assembled forces steeled themselves for what was to come, they knew that the true test of humanity's place in the cosmic order was about to unfold, a crucible that would define their species for eons to come. The temporal rift pulsed with otherworldly energy, casting an eerie glow across the assembled fleets. On the bridge of the eternal horizon, Admiral Marcus Steele stood frozen, the weight of galaxies on his shoulders. The revelation of his future self and the terrible fate that awaited humanity had shaken him to his core. "Sir," Captain Zara Vega's voice crackled through the calm, tense but steady, "awaiting your orders. The future you?" He's offering to explain everything, but we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the enemy fleet. Whatever's coming, it's coming soon. Marcus closed his eyes, centering himself. When he opened them, his gaze was steel. "Patch him through, ship-wide. Everyone needs to hear this." As the transmission connected, Marcus addressed the fleet. "To all Allied ships, this is Admiral Steele. What you're about to hear will challenge everything we believe. But remember, our choices now will shape the future of the galaxy. Stay alert and stand ready." The holographic image of future Marcus flickered to life, his scarred visage a grim reminder of battles yet to come. "I know you have questions," he began, his voice heavy with a weight of unspeakable burdens. "But time is short, so listen carefully." As he spoke, the rift began to widen, and more ships emerged, twisted, dark versions of human vessels, bristling with weapons that defied comprehension. "In our timeline," future Marcus continued, "humanity's return marked the beginning of a golden age. We spread across the stars, sharing our knowledge and technology. But our generosity was our downfall. A faction within the Galactic Council, the Shadow Concordat, used our innovations to create weapons of unimaginable power. Images flashed across the screens, worlds burning, civilizations crumbling, and at the center of it all, a corrupted Earth, transformed into a fortress of tyranny. We became the very monsters we once fought against," future Marcus said, his voice cracking with emotion. "Contingency Omega was our last resort, a plan to change the past to save the future. But it requires a sacrifice that we weren't prepared to make." On the Galactic Council flagship, Councilor Zyx'nara listened with growing horror. Beside her, Vixtada, the Quarian scholar, nodded grimly. "The ancient prophecies," he murmured. "The return of the Star Children, heralding both salvation and doom. It's all coming to pass." As the future Marcus spoke, Dr. Evelyn Chen worked feverishly in the science bay, analyzing the temporal data pouring in from the rift. Her eyes widened as she made a startling discovery. "Admiral," she called out, her voice urgent, "the rift isn't just a gateway. It's a temporal anchor. If it fully stabilizes, it will lock our timeline onto this dark future path." Marcus's mind raced, processing the implications. They needed to close the rift, but doing so would strand the future fleet and potentially doom them all to the very fate they were trying to prevent. As if reading his thoughts, future Marcus spoke again. "You're wondering how to stop this, aren't you? The answer is simpler and more terrible than you can imagine. Contingency Omega isn't about changing a single event. It's about erasing our entire timeline." A collective gasp rippled through the fleet. Erasing their timeline would mean undoing everything they'd accomplished, every life they'd touched. It was genocide on a cosmic scale. "There has to be another way," Marcus insisted, his voice firm despite the turmoil within. Future Marcus's eyes softened with a mixture of pride and sorrow. "I once thought the same, but the future you're seeing, it's not just possible, it's inevitable, unless we act now." As they argued, the battle around them intensified. The corrupted future fleet engaged the Allied forces, their advanced weapons tearing through shields and hulls with terrifying ease. On the Zephyrian command ship, Emperor Xylos made a decision. "If humanity's future threatens all of creation," he declared, his crystalline form pulsing with determination, "then we stand with our human allies, whatever the cost." The Zephyrian fleet moved to engage, their energy weapons flaring brilliantly against the void. But even their advanced technology seemed primitive compared to the corrupted future ships. Aboard the Draconian flagship, Fleet Lord Zankrar watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and dread. The evidence of his own government's involvement in this cosmic conspiracy had shaken him, but seeing the future threat firsthand steeled his resolve. "For honor, for redemption," he growled, ordering his fleet to join the fray. As the battle raged, Marcus knew they were running out of time. The rift continued to grow, and with each passing moment, their dark future became more certain. He needed to make a decision, but the weight of it threatened to crush him. It was then that Ambassador Lydia Reyes approached, her eyes blazing with an idea. "Admiral," she said, her voice low but intense, "what if there's a third option? Not preserving our timeline or erasing it, but merging it." Marcus's eyes widened as he grasped her meaning. "A temporal fusion? Is that even possible?" Dr. Chen, who had been listening in, jumped in. "Theoretically, yes, if we could use the Prometheus cannon to destabilize the rift at the precise moment of temporal convergence, we might be able to create a new timeline, one that preserves the best of both worlds while avoiding the dark future." It was a desperate plan, fraught with risks. But as Marcus looked at the faces of his crew, at the allies who had stood with them against impossible odds, he knew it was their best hope. "Future me," Marcus addressed his counterpart, "you came back to prevent a catastrophe, but in doing so, you became the very thing you sought to destroy. There's always another way, we just have to be brave enough to find it." For a moment, the two versions of Marcus Steele stared at each other across time and space. Then, slowly, future Marcus nodded. "Do it," he said, a glimmer of hope breaking through his grim facade. "End this cycle, once and for all." With the decision made, the Allied fleet sprang into action. The Eternal Horizon moved into position, its Prometheus cannon powering up to levels never before attempted. The Zephyrians and Draconians formed a defensive perimeter, buying them the time they desperately needed. On the enemy flagship, Captain Zara Vega and her team worked to sabotage the temporal stabilizers, guided by the future Marcus, who had now become an unlikely ally. As the rift reached its critical point, Marcus gave the order. "Fire the Prometheus cannon. All ships, brace for temporal shockwave." The cannon fired, a beam of pure energy lancing into the heart of the rift. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a reality-shattering roar, the rift began to collapse in on itself. Timelines collided, merged, and reformed. Past, present, and future blurred into a kaleidoscope of possibility. Every being in the vicinity felt the weight of infinite choices, lives lived and unlived, all condensing into a single, eternal moment. As the shockwave subsided, Marcus opened his eyes to a changed galaxy. The corrupted future fleet was gone, as was the rift. But so too were large swathes of the Allied armada. The stars themselves seemed subtly altered, as if history had been rewritten at the most fundamental level. "Status report," Marcus called out, his voice hoarse. "We're alive, sir," came the shaky reply from Officer Chen. "But sensors are showing massive changes throughout known space. It's as if multiple timelines have merged into one." As the crew worked to make sense of their new reality, A transmission came through. It was Councilor Zyx'nara, but she looked different, older, wiser, with a hint of human cybernetic enhancements visible at her temples. "Admiral Steele," she said, her voice filled with wonder and trepidation. "We did it. We've created a new future. But the changes, they're beyond anything we could have imagined." As the temporal shockwave subsided, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Admiral Marcus Steele blinked, his enhanced senses struggling to process the altered reality around him. The Eternal Horizons bridge was eerily quiet, the crew frozen in a moment of collective disorientation. "Status report," Marcus croaked, his voice hoarse from the strain of the past few hours. Officer Sarah Chen's fingers danced over her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Sir, we're intact. But the readings, they don't make sense. It's as if entire star systems have shifted positions, and the quantum signatures of everything around us are fluctuating." Dr. Evelyn Chen burst onto the bridge, her eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and fear. "Marcus, the temporal fusion, it worked. But the consequences are far beyond what we anticipated. We didn't just merge two timelines, we've created a quantum superposition of multiple realities." As if to underscore her point, the main view screen flickered to life, showing a kaleidoscope of familiar yet altered scenes. The Galactic Council headquarters, now a sprawling megastructure that incorporated architecture from a dozen species. Earth, its continents reshaped, gleaming cities visible even from orbit. And most shockingly, a massive space station at the galaxy's core, bearing insignias from both the human fleet and the Shadow Concordat. "My God," Ambassador Lydia Reyes whispered, "what have we done?" Before Marcus could respond, a series of transmissions flooded in. Councilor Zyx'nara, her scales now interwoven with cybernetic enhancements. Emperor Xylos, his crystalline form pulsing with energies that seemed to bend space itself. And Fleet Lord Zyx'nara, looking both older and more regal, scars of battle visible even through his ceremonial armor. "Admiral Steele," Zyx'nara began, her voice a mixture of awe and urgency. "We've done it. The dark future has been averted, but the cost. The changes are beyond anything we could have imagined." Xylos chimed in, his harmonic voice resonating with new depths. "Our histories have been rewritten, Admiral. In this new timeline, the Zephyrian Empire and humanity have been allies for millennia. Our combined technologies have reshaped the very fabric of galactic society." Zyx'nara nodded gravely. "And the Draconian Empire. We remember both our betrayal and our redemption. Our civilizations have been intertwined in ways we're only beginning to understand." As Marcus struggled to process this information, a new transmission cut through one that made his blood run cold. The face that appeared was his own, yet different. Older, bearing the scars of the future they'd just averted, but with eyes that now shone with hope instead of desperation. "Well done, younger me," the future Marcus said, a wry smile playing on his lips. "You've succeeded where I failed, but our work is far from over." Marcus straightened, his mind racing. The Shadow Concordat? Contingency Omega? What happened to them in this new timeline? The future Marcus's expression turned grave. "That's the crux of our new challenge. In merging the timelines, we've created a reality where the Shadow Concordat still exists, but as a known entity. They're part of the galactic power structure now, a check and balance against unchecked expansion. Contingency Omega has become a failsafe known to all major powers, a reset button for reality itself." Dr. Chen, who had been furiously analyzing data, looked up sharply. "Admiral, I'm detecting quantum entanglement on a galactic scale. It's as if every major decision made by any significant power creates ripples that affect the entire timeline." The implications were staggering. They had averted one dark future, only to create a present where the fate of the galaxy hung in a constant balance, each choice potentially triggering reality-altering consequences. As the Allied leaders grappled with this new status quo, alarms blared across the eternal horizon. "Massive energy spike detected," Officer Chen called out. "Something's coming through. It's a ship." but like nothing we've ever seen. The view screen shifted, showing a vessel that seemed to defy the laws of physics. It phased in and out of reality, its hull a shifting maze of impossible geometries. As they watched in awe, a transmission came through. The being that appeared was unlike anything they had encountered. It seemed to be composed of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between humanoid and something utterly alien. "Greetings, architects of the new reality," the being said, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "I am the curator, guardian of the cosmic library. Your actions have rewritten the grand narrative of the universe itself. But beware, with great power comes great responsibility, and the multiverse does not take kindly to those who meddle with its foundations." Marcus stepped forward, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his mind. "We did what we had to do to prevent a catastrophic future. Are you saying we're now responsible for maintaining this new reality?" The curator's form shimmered, a gesture that might have been a nod. "Indeed. The fusion of timelines has created a cosmic fulcrum, with your Earth at its center. The choices you make now will ripple across realities. The Shadow Concordat, once your enemy, now stands as both a potential ally and a looming threat. And Contingency Omega, it has become a weapon of unimaginable power, coveted by forces beyond your comprehension." As the curator spoke, the view screens around the bridge lit up, showing glimpses of alternate realities, worlds where different choices led to vastly different outcomes. In one, Earth stood as the capital of a benevolent galactic federation. In another, it was a scorched ruin, a testament to the dangers of unchecked power. "You stand at a crossroads," the curator continued. "This new reality is malleable, shaped by the collective will of all sentient beings. But it is also fragile. The barriers between dimensions have been weakened. Threats you cannot yet imagine loom on the horizon." Ambassador Reyes stepped forward, her diplomatic instincts kicking in. "How do we proceed? How can we possibly navigate this new cosmic landscape?" The curator's form expanded, enveloping the bridge in a field of swirling energy. When it spoke again, its voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "You must forge new alliances, not just across space, but across realities. The Shadow Concordat must be both contained and embraced. And above all, you must learn to wield the power of Contingency Omega with wisdom and restraint." As the curator's presence faded, Marcus turned to his assembled crew and the holographic projections of his allies. The weight of entire universes rested on their shoulders, but in their eyes he saw not fear, but determination. "We've been given a second chance," Marcus declared, his voice ringing with authority. "Not just for humanity, but for all sentient life. We've rewritten the stars themselves, and now it's our duty to ensure that this new cosmic story is one of hope, not despair." Councilor Zyx'nara nodded, her cybernetic implants gleaming. "The Galactic Council stands ready, Admiral. In this new reality, we are all architects of our shared destiny." Emperor Xylos's crystalline form pulsed with newfound power. "The Zephyrian Empire pledges its resources to this grand endeavor. Together, we shall navigate the currents of time and space." Fleet Lord Zankra stood tall, his posture that of a being who had seen both the best and worst of his people. "The Draconian Empire seeks redemption in this new age. Our fleets are yours to command in defense of this fragile cosmic balance." As the allies pledged their support, Dr. Chen approached Marcus, her eyes shining with the thrill of scientific discovery. "Admiral, I've been analyzing the quantum fluctuations. I think we might be able to predict major temporal shifts. With enough data, we could potentially guide the course of this new reality." Marcus nodded, a plan already forming in his mind. "Assemble a team, Doctor. We need to understand every nuance of this new cosmic paradigm." As the eternal horizon hummed with renewed purpose, Marcus Steele looked out at the altered stars. They had averted one dark future, only to find themselves the custodians of all possible futures. The challenges ahead were immense, but for the first time since awakening from the Lazarus Protocol, Marcus felt a glimmer of true hope. The galaxy no, the multiverse awaited, and humanity, standing alongside its alien allies, was ready to embrace its cosmic destiny. As the weight of their new responsibilities settled upon them, Admiral Marcus Steele turned to address the assembled leaders and his crew. The bridge of the eternal horizon, once just the command center of a warship, now felt like the nexus of countless realities. "We stand at the threshold of a new era," Marcus began, his voice carrying the weight of universes. "An era where the lines between ally and enemy, past and future, have been redrawn. Our actions have reshaped the cosmos, and now we must bear the responsibility of shepherding this new reality." As he spoke, the viewscreens flickered with images of their changed galaxy, familiar worlds altered, new alliances forged, and the looming presence of the Shadow Concordat, now an integral part of the cosmic balance. Dr. Evelyn Chen stepped forward, her eyes alight with the fire of scientific discovery. "Admiral, I've been analyzing the quantum fluctuations. With the right technology, we might be able to navigate these temporal currents, perhaps even influence them." Ambassador Lydia Reyes nodded, adding, "And with our new understanding of the Shadow Concordat's role, we have an opportunity to reshape galactic politics on a scale never before imagined." The holographic forms of their alien allies shimmered with renewed purpose. Councilor Zyx'nara, her cybernetic enhancements gleaming, spoke for the Galactic Council. "We stand ready to forge a new path, one that honors the sacrifices made and the lessons learned across multiple timelines." Emperor Xylos's crystalline form pulsed with determination. "The Zephyrian Empire pledges its mastery of energy manipulation to this cause. Together, we shall navigate the currents of time and space." Fleet Lord Zyx'nara, his scarred visage a testament to battles fought across realities, declared, "The Draconian Empire seeks redemption in this new age. Our strength shall be the bulwark against those who would threaten this fragile balance." As the Allies voiced their commitment, a subtle shift in the air caught Marcus's attention. The curator's ethereal form shimmered into existence, its ever-changing visage a reminder of the cosmic forces at play. "You have taken the first steps on an unprecedented journey," the curator intoned, its voice resonating through reality itself. "But be warned, the multiverse is vast and unforgiving. Forces beyond your comprehension stir in the depths between realities. Your every decision will shape not just your future, but the futures of countless worlds across the cosmic tapestry." With those ominous words, the curator vanished, leaving behind a sense of both wonder and trepidation. Marcus took a deep breath, centering himself amidst the swirling currents of possibility. "Our path forward is clear," he declared. "We must master this new cosmic paradigm, balance the power of the Shadow Concordat, and prepare for threats we can scarcely imagine. The eternal horizon is no longer just a ship, it's a beacon of hope for all realities." As the assembled leaders and crew nodded in agreement, a sudden alert blared through the ship. Officer Sarah Chen's hands flew over her console, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Admiral," she called out, her voice tight with urgency, "we're detecting a massive temporal disturbance. Something is breaking through the barriers between realities." The main view screen flared to life, showing a sight that defied comprehension. A vast, writhing mass of energy and matter, punctuated by what looked like shards of broken realities, was tearing its way into their universe. "By the cosmic winds," Emperor Xylos breathed, his crystalline form vibrating with tension. Marcus Steele straightened, his enhanced mind already formulating strategies. "All hands to battle stations," he ordered, his voice steady despite the impossible odds they faced. "This is what we've prepared for. Whatever's coming, we face it together for the sake of all realities." As the eternal horizon and its allied fleets moved to confront this new, reality-spanning threat, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. Once again, they stood at the precipice of a conflict that would determine the fate of not just their galaxy, but of existence itself. The stage was set for the final chapter of their cosmic saga. The choices they would make, the battles they would fight, and the alliances they would forge would echo across the multiverse for eternity. As the assembled forces of multiple realities steeled themselves for the impending confrontation, the very fabric of existence seemed to tremble. The fate of all possible futures hung in the balance, with humanity standing at the epicenter of this cosmic maelstrom. No longer were they merely a species among the stars. They had become the linchpin of destiny itself, their choices reverberating across the multiverse. The eternal horizon, once a symbol of humanity's return, now stood as a beacon of hope for countless realities. Admiral Marcus Steele gazed out at the swirling vortex of interdimensional energy, acutely aware that the next few moments would shape the course of existence for eons to come. As allies from across time and space moved into formation, a palpable tension filled the air. This was more than just a battle for survival or dominance. It was a struggle for the very soul of the multiverse. The outcome of this conflict would redefine the fundamental nature of reality, reshaping the cosmic order in ways beyond imagination. With weapons primed and minds steeled, the united forces of multiple realities prepared to face an enemy that threatened the very foundations of existence. As the first salvos were fired, marking the beginning of this ultimate confrontation, one thing became crystal clear to all involved. Whatever the outcome, the multiverse would never be the same again. The vast, writhing mass of interdimensional energy loomed before the assembled fleets, a cosmic aberration that defied comprehension. Admiral Marcus Steele stood on the bridge of the eternal horizon, his enhanced mind racing to process the impossible sight before him. "All ships, hold position," Marcus ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. "Dr. Chen, what are we dealing with here?" Dr. Evelyn Chen's fingers danced across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. It's like nothing we've ever seen, Marcus. It's as if multiple realities are collapsing in on themselves, creating a singularity of pure chaos. As the crew worked feverishly to analyze the threat, a familiar voice cut through the tension. "Admiral Steele, this is Zyx'nara," the elderly Quarian scholar's voice crackled over the comm. "I believe I can offer some insight into our current predicament." Marcus nodded to Officer Sarah Chen, who patched Zyx'nara through to the main view screen. The ancient alien's face appeared, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of fear and excitement. "The prophecies," Zyx'nara began, his voice quavering with emotion. "They spoke of this moment, the nexus of all realities, a convergence point where the fate of every possible universe hangs in the balance." As Zyx'nara spoke, the interdimensional rift pulsed, sending shockwaves of temporal energy cascading across the battlefield. Ships from all factions, human, Zephyrian, Draconian, and even the enigmatic Shadow Concordat shuddered under the assault. "We need to stabilize the rift," Marcus declared, his mind already formulating a plan. "Dr. Chen, can we modify the Prometheus cannon to emit a focused beam of chronodons?" Evelyn's eyes widened as she grasped his intention. "Yes, but, Marcus, if we do that, we'll be directly interfacing with the multiverse itself. The strain on the ship, on the crew, it could be catastrophic." Before Marcus could respond, multiple transmissions flooded in. Councilor Zyx'nara, her cybernetic implants glowing with barely contained energy. Emperor Xylos, his crystalline form pulsing with determination. Fleet Lord Zyx'nara, his scarred visage set in grim resolve. "Whatever you're planning, Admiral," Zyx'nara said, her voice filled with newfound respect, "the Galactic Council stands with you." Xylos nodded, his harmonic voice resonating with power. "The Zephyrian Empire will lend its energy manipulation expertise to your efforts. And the Draconian fleet will provide cover," Zyx'nara growled, a hint of his old ferocity returning. "It's time we atoned for our past mistakes." As the Allies coordinated their efforts, Ambassador Lydia Reyes approached Marcus, her eyes shining with a mix of pride and concern. "You've united beings from across realities, Marcus. Whatever happens next, know that you've already achieved the impossible." Marcus allowed himself a small smile, drawing strength from Lydia's words and the unwavering support of his crew and allies. But as he turned back to the viewscreen, his expression hardened once more. "All ships, prepare for temporal convergence," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of universes. "We're about to rewrite the laws of reality itself." As the Eternal Horizon moved into position, its Prometheus cannon powering up to levels never before imagined, the fabric of space-time itself seemed to hold its breath. The assembled fleets formed a protective barrier around the human flagship, their diverse technologies synchronizing in a display of unity that spanned realities. In the science bay, Dr. Chen worked feverishly alongside her team, including the young ensign who had once voiced her fears about facing the entire galaxy. Now, that same ensign's eyes blazed with determination as she assisted in the cannon's recalibration. "Chronoton beam ready, Admiral," Evelyn reported, her voice tense but steady. "On your mark." Marcus took a deep breath, acutely aware that his next order could reshape the very foundations of existence. He thought of the long journey that had brought them to this point, from the activation of the Lazarus Protocol to the merging of timelines and the revelation of cosmic truths. "Fire," he commanded, his voice resonating with the echoes of every choice, every battle, every moment of doubt and triumph that had led to this singular instant. The Prometheus cannon roared to life, a beam of pure chronoton energy lancing out towards the heart of the interdimensional rift. As it made contact, reality itself seemed to scream. The viewscreen exploded with colors beyond human comprehension, and every being in the vicinity felt the weight of infinite possibilities pressing down upon them. For a moment that stretched into eternity, Marcus Steele stood at the center of all creation, a fulcrum upon which the fate of every possible universe balanced. In that instant, he saw glimpses of countless realities, worlds where humanity had never left Earth, realms where the Galactic Council ruled with benevolence or tyranny, universes where the very laws of physics differed in subtle but profound ways. And through it all, a truth crystallized in his mind, a realization that would shape not just the outcome of this battle, but the very nature of existence itself. As the chronoton beam continued to pierce the heart of the rift, Marcus turned to address his crew and allies, his eyes blazing with the fire of revelation. "We've been looking at this all wrong," he declared, his voice carrying across realities. "This isn't about choosing one timeline over another. It's about embracing the infinite potential of all possible futures." The assembled beings listened in awe as Marcus Steele, once a man out of time, now a cosmic architect, began to outline a vision that would redefine the very concept of reality itself. As Marcus's words resonated across the assembled fleets, the chronoton beam from the Prometheus cannon continued to stabilize the interdimensional rift. The chaotic energies began to coalesce, forming a swirling vortex of infinite possibilities. "What we're witnessing," Marcus continued, his voice carrying the weight of newfound understanding, "is not the end of our reality, but the birth of a new cosmic paradigm. We have the power to shape not just one future, but to become the guardians of all potential futures." Dr. Evelyn Chen's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. "You're talking about creating a nexus point," she breathed, her scientific mind racing. "A central hub connecting all realities." Marcus nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "Exactly. Instead of erasing timelines or merging them haphazardly, we can create a system where all realities coexist, interconnected but distinct." As the idea took hold, the Allied leaders chimed in, their faces appearing on the viewscreen. Councilor Zyx'nara, her cybernetic implants pulsing with excitement, spoke first. "The Galactic Council could serve as mediators between realities, ensuring peaceful cooperation and exchange of knowledge." Emperor Xylos's crystalline form shimmered with newfound purpose. The Zephyrian Empire could lend its expertise in energy manipulation to maintain the stability of this cosmic nexus. Fleet Lord Zyx'nara, his scarred visage softening with a glimmer of hope, added, "And the draconian fleets could stand as guardians, protecting the nexus from those who would seek to exploit it." As the Allies voiced their support, Vextara's aged voice cut through, filled with awe. The ancient prophecies, they spoke of a time when the Star Children would weave the tapestry of creation anew. This is that moment, Admiral Steele. You're fulfilling a destiny written in the very stars themselves. The gravity of the moment wasn't lost on Marcus. He turned to Ambassador Lydia Reyes, whose diplomatic insights had been invaluable throughout their journey. Lydia, we're about to reshape the political landscape of not just our galaxy, but all of reality. We'll need your skills more than ever. Lydia nodded, her eyes shining with determination. I'm ready, Marcus. We'll forge agreements that span universes, create protocols for inter-reality cooperation. It's diplomacy on a scale never before imagined. As the plan took shape, the eternal horizon shuddered, the strain of channeling such immense energies taking its toll. Captain Zara Vega's voice came through the calm, tense but controlled. Admiral, the ship can't take much more of this. We need to act now. Marcus's mind raced, calculating variables across multiple dimensions. Dr. Chen, can we modify the chronoton beam to act as a stabilizing force for the Nexus? Evelyn's fingers flew across her console. Yes, but it would require channeling energy from all allied ships. We'd be creating a network that spans realities. Do it, Marcus ordered. Then, addressing the fleet, all ships, prepare to channel your energy into the eternal horizon. We're about to make history, across all of reality. As the Allied vessels moved into formation, their diverse technologies synchronizing in a display of unity that defied comprehension, Marcus felt the weight of countless lives past, present, and future resting on his shoulders. The Prometheus cannon's beam shifted, its energy now infused with contributions from every Allied ship. The interdimensional rift began to stabilize, its chaotic energies coalescing into a structured network of pathways between realities. As the Nexus took shape, glimpses of other worlds flickered across the viewscreen's realities, where history had taken different turns, where alien species evolved along different paths, where the very laws of physics varied in subtle but profound ways. In the midst of this cosmic reshaping, the curator's ethereal form materialized on the bridge, its ever-shifting visage a reminder of the multiversal forces at play. You stand at the crossroads of infinity, Admiral Steele, it intoned, its voice echoing across dimensions. The choices you make now will ripple across all of existence. Marcus met the curator's gaze, his resolve unshakable. We choose cooperation over conflict, understanding over ignorance, and the preservation of all possible futures over the dominance of any single timeline. As he spoke, the Nexus stabilized further, pathways between realities becoming clear and navigable. The assembled fleets watched in awe as the fabric of the multiverse reshaped itself around them, with the eternal horizon at its center. But even as this new cosmic order took shape, alarms blared across the ship. Officer Sarah Chen's voice cut through the wonder, filled with urgent concern. Admiral, we're detecting multiple breaches across the Nexus. Something is coming through. The viewscreen shifted, showing rifts opening across the newly formed network. Through these tiers in reality, shapes began to emerge, beings of unimaginable power, their forms defying the laws of physics. The cosmic architects, Zyx'nara gasped, his ancient eyes wide with recognition. The shapers of universes themselves, they've come to bear witness to our creation. As these godlike entities emerged fully into their reality, Marcus Steele and his allies found themselves facing the ultimate test. They had reshaped the multiverse, but now they would have to defend their vision against forces beyond mortal comprehension. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation, one that would determine not just the fate of their galaxy or universe, but the very essence of reality itself. As the forces prepared for the decisive battle, Marcus Steele stood resolute at the helm of the eternal horizon, ready to lead humanity and its allies into a conflict that would resonate through eternity. The conclusion of their cosmic saga loomed, offering the promise of either unimaginable transcendence or the potential unraveling of everything they had fought to achieve. The choices made in the coming moments would shape the destiny of countless realities, leaving an indelible mark on the fabric of existence itself. The cosmic architects, beings of unfathomable power and wisdom, hovered before the Nexus, their forms shifting and shimmering with the energy of countless realities. Admiral Marcus Steele stood at the helm of the eternal horizon, his heart pounding with the weight of what lay ahead. The assembled fleets, representing a coalition of species and timelines, held their collective breath. The Nexus, a beacon of interconnected realities, pulsed with potential, its pathways shimmering like threads in a cosmic tapestry. Marcus took a deep breath, stepping forward to address the cosmic architects. "We stand at the dawn of a new era," he began, his voice steady and resolute. "An era where the boundaries between realities are not barriers, but bridges. We have forged a nexus that connects all possible futures, and we pledge to protect and nurture this creation." The cosmic architects regarded him silently, their presence a reminder of the vastness of the multiverse and the fragility of their place within it. Marcus felt the weight of their scrutiny, but he stood firm, drawing strength from the unity of his allies and the resolve of his crew. "We've learned that true strength lies not in domination, but in cooperation," Marcus continued, his voice carrying across the assembled fleets. "In embracing the infinite diversity of existence, we find the power to transcend our limitations and create a future where all beings can thrive." As he spoke, Marcus felt a profound connection to the multiverse, a sense of belonging that transcended time and space. He thought of the journey that had brought them here, the battles fought, the alliances forged, the sacrifices made. Each moment had been a step toward this pivotal point. The cosmic architects shifted, their forms coalescing into a single, unified presence. When they spoke, their voice resonated through the very fabric of reality, a symphony of countless voices and perspectives. "You have chosen wisely, Marcus Steele," they intoned, their words echoing with the wisdom of ages. "In forging this nexus, you have embraced the true essence of existence, the interconnectedness of all things. Your vision shall guide the multiverse toward a future of harmony and understanding." As their words faded, the cosmic architects began to withdraw, their forms dissolving into the cosmic ether. The nexus stabilized, its pathways solidifying into a network of infinite possibilities, each reality a unique thread in the grand tapestry of creation. Marcus turned to his crew and allies, his heart swelling with pride and gratitude. "We've done it," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "We've created a legacy that will endure across all realities. Together, we've shaped a future where every being has the opportunity to reach their fullest potential." In the silence that followed, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought them here. He thought of the challenges they had faced, the lessons they had learned, and the bonds they had forged. Each step had been a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and its allies. As the Eternal Horizon and its allied fleets prepared to explore the newly formed nexus, Marcus offered a final monologue, his words a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who would follow in their footsteps. "We are the architects of our destiny," he declared, his voice resonating with the power of conviction. "We have the power to shape the future, to build a world where all beings can coexist in peace and prosperity. Let us embrace this responsibility with courage and compassion, for the choices we make today will echo across eternity." With those words, Marcus Steele and his allies embarked on a new journey, guided by the light of the Nexus and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The multiverse awaited, filled with infinite possibilities and the potential for greatness. And as the Eternal Horizon sailed into the unknown, its crew united by a shared vision and a common purpose, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together as guardians of the Nexus and as stewards of the future. The story of their journey, their triumphs and trials, would become legend, a testament to the enduring power of hope and the boundless potential of the human spirit. And in the vast expanse of the multiverse, their legacy would shine as a beacon of light, guiding all who sought a better world.